Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 140 of the Everything Moto Racing podcast. I hope you are well. I'm here with Cameron and Lauren.
Heyo!
Way. Hey guys.
Full house.
Hello. It's been a quiet day today, hasn't it?
A bit boring, to be honest.
Yeah, like Monday, we were meant to have testing, it was raining, so like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Marc Marquez actually had 2 bikes built for him and tested nothing.
Oh, my heart bleeds.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then about 5 o'clock, no, not 5 o'clock, our time, 4 o'clock,
No,
Autosport. Autosport dropped an article that was like, oh yeah, so by the way, Marquez is joining Factory Ducati and Martin's leaving. And we're like, what? And do you want to know the maddest part about it? Right, an hour later, obviously Jorge Martin was announced at Aprilia. So at the time that Autosport article was dropped, Martin had not signed for Aprilia. He signed for Aprilia half an hour before that announcement.
Wow. Who's the grass?
Yeah, who has leaked the Marc Marquez deal?
Don't know, to be honest. Autosport are pretty good. They've got a lot of people in the paddock, Lewis Duncan and all that, you know.
Well, I sort of read it and went, well, I have not seen anything official. But then everyone jumped on it. Journalists.
Reddit went mental.
A lot of reputable...
My whole Twitter feed was just...
Yeah, a lot of reputable people jumped on it and were sort of like, well, here we go. And I was like...
If it's Autosport, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the fact that everyone else sort of jumped onto it, I was like, God, this is most likely going to happen. And then obviously Aprilia jumped in like an hour and a half later and we're like, we've got some news for you guys. And everyone was like, well, I wonder what this could be. So,
well, I thought, because I've had so many emails over the weekend about the Aprilia All-Stars thing that they've got every year. I was like, this is going to be a marketing genius now to use all this hype that has just been created to promote your event. But they went, nah, let's not do that. Let's just announce Jorge Martin, who I think was sat on the back burner the whole time because he's great friends with Aleix. I'm sure Aleix managed to shoehorn Vinales in there. Aleix will have shoehorned Martin in there because the whole thing that Autosport have said, which I think was the last straw for Martin, because Ducati have treated him like crap. Let's not like sugarcoat it. They've promised him left, right and centre. You know, oh, if you can have this ride, if you do this, if you do this. Nothing he does is good enough for that seat, it seems. And Ducati, they do this a lot where they just treat their riders like dirt, unless you're their prize boy of Pecco. You know, you saw Dovi, who was the most successful rider after Stoner, get absolutely just treated like dirt and leave, and then do a middle finger on the podium to Ducati the day after going, you know, I'm not dealing with this anymore, I'm off, I don't want a seat, I don't want to ride for you anymore, I'm out, I'll take a sabbatical, don't care. That's how bad it got. You know, and then Martin's promised to ride to the fact that on Friday at Mugello he had a chat with the top people at Ducati and they were like, yep, right, shook his hand and were like, it's yours, we'll sort it out over the weekend. And then about an hour or two later, Marc Marquez went into an interview with DAZN and went, oh yeah, I'm not going to ride for Pramac, by the way. Which was Ducati's plans, which was to whack him in Pramac, keep everyone happy then, and Marco was like, nah. Which played to perfection.
Yeah.
Because suddenly Ducati scrambled and were like, we need Marquez. Because, and the thing, I will let you guys speak in a minute. The thing carry on. With Marc Marquez is the fact that his data is obscenely valuable to Ducati because no rider, this has been backed up by Frankie Cargetti and stuff like that, is riding the Ducati the way Marc is, especially the fact that he's on a GP23 and is matching and outperforming riders. They've all got their new, this is like the I can't remember the word, but it's a new fairing. The word is on tip of my tongue, can't remember it, but it's a new fairing, and all the GP24s have it, yet Marquez is still with them, fighting with them and beating them. his data through the left-hand corner, no one at Ducati has ever seen a rider do that on their bike. And the way he rides their bike is so unique to them that that data is very valuable. And the fact that they can see how talented Marc is, they've almost certainly got a title contender in Marc next year, especially with how wishy-washy Pecco is at the moment. We say that he's won 2 races in a row, sure,
Yeah.
but this is Pecco. And so Marc was like, nah, don't want Pramac. So Ducati then were like, right, sorry, Jorge, it's going to be Marc. And then last night, so we're talking on the Monday, last night on the Sunday night, Rivola made a call to the Piaggio Group CEO and was like, can we get a bit more money on that contract? Worked with the lawyers overnight and this morning. Gave Jorge a call and were like, can you come over? And they signed the deal. Basically, I'm pretty sure they were like, every demand Jorge asked for, they would have said yeah. And Jorge then got the deal. And as we said before the podcast starts, Jorge could walk into Aprilia with a number 1 plate on the front of his bike.
What an up yours exercise that would be. Like, there's no polite way to put it, but
No.
I mean,
Perfect revenge.
yeah, literally. No, obviously there's a long season still ahead of us, but I just think that, for one, yes, Ducati have not been treating Jorge Martin correctly. Obviously they went with Enea Bastianini the first time round when there was a decision to be made, which at the time was the right decision, but it became clear very quickly that Jorge Martin should have got the call up, but no one was to know that Enea Bastianini was going to get injured and had the season that he had last year. So, you know, he gets his 2-year contract. You know, Jorge Martin should get the contract for 2025, but just in the last sort of 9 months, the way that both parties have been talking about that factory seat, you just knew that Jorge was not going to sign for the factory squad, with him saying things like, if I haven't done enough already, I don't know what else I can do, sort of thing. Like, if I'm not in red now, I can't really do much else to be in red in a year's time. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this whatsoever, and especially with the fact that he's taking Alicia Spargo's seat. Like, that is his best friend. He's literally like family. They've said it so much over the last couple of weeks. In the news of Alicia's retirement, like, Jorge Martin looks up to him so much, and Alicia's taken him under his wing. So I'd say as soon as Alicia said that he was retiring, talks with Aprilia probably would have started, and exactly that, of Rivola, you know, speaking to the Piaggio group last night and going, look, let's just do it and let's get the money and let's just agree to all of his terms, whatever they might be. It would be silly to not meet his demands and, you know, give him whatever he's asked for. So yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever. It will be interesting now to see if that Ducati have signed Marc Marquez, because I think that is quite a controversial one. I think some people are split on it, but yeah, is Enea Bastianini safe, or is he out the door too? I don't know. I'm still so confused, and there's still so many spots to be filled, but this is definitely the first domino to fall.
First major domino.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's for sure. I think it's one of those things where it's like, now that it's confirmed, we look back and we go, oh, obviously. Yeah, he was Alicia's, pretty much his best pal in the paddock. Alicia's retiring. Obviously, Alicia's going to be like, you need to sign this kid. Like, look at him. Just do whatever it takes to get him. And it's just, yeah, like, now retrospectively, it almost seems so obvious, in my opinion. You know, there's no sort of energy drink sponsor politics getting in the way or anything like that. And the Aprilia is clearly a really, really good bike. I'm sure in the hands of Jorge Martin, it will be a front runner consistently. Maybe there will be a slight adjustment period, but yeah, like, makes total sense. And I think Marquez's comment of not wanting to go to Pramac, or being like, it's not an option, you know, just laying that down there, that is studied in the history books of, like, war tactics. Do you know what I mean? That is absolute perfect negotiation, like public setting. It's out in the open. No one can sort of bite back at him immediately there and then being like, what do you mean? You know, he's just saying it in a press conference, being like, I'm not going to Pramac. Almost so candidly.
And he was so nice about it too. He's like, Pramac are a brilliant team and the work that they do is amazing, but I just don't think it's the team for me, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect political play. And yeah, it is exciting. But then, you know, so we are kind of assuming that this means Marc Marquez to the Lenovo Ducati, because we sort of feel like Enea, even though he had a great result at Mugello, the last two rounds, you know, he's been a bit daft and really kind of sealed his fate. But then there's the whole energy drink thing, because Monster and Red Bull really are at odds, I would say. What's the script here? I don't know. It's interesting. So it's a major domino to fall, but there's still a lot of questions. We kind of felt like once we knew what was happening here, we would know what was happening, you know, from now on, but we really don't, I don't think.
Well,
I love it. I love the well followed by cough. It's good.
Interesting. We said on the last podcast, didn't we? And we did the whole go on the Red Bull athletes page and have a look who's number one. Yeah. And it was Marc was the most highlighted. I think he dropped to 4th. Let's try and do it right now live in the pod. Red Bull athletes.
Incognito window.
Yep, brand new incognito. Let's have a look. He's 4th the other day. Pedro Costa's on the front page of Google.
Yes.
Marc is still in 4th. So he's still on that front page of highlighted. Max Verstappen, he's ahead of Max Verstappen. That's how... He is one of the highest paid Red Bull athletes. He has been sponsored by them for 16 years. They are his longest term sponsor alongside Alpine Stars.
Surely Red Bull pay the bills, don't they?
So Red Bull and Marc obviously have a lot going on. You know, his merchandise at Catalunya was Red Bull logos on it as well. They sponsored Honda because Marc was there. You know, he raced for the IO Derby squad with Red Bull colours and then rode through into MotoGP with Red Bull. They helped him get Alex in Red Bull, and Alex retained Red Bull thanks to it. They're both managed in the company vertical by an ex-Red Bull employee who still has connections there. Marquez is very much intertwined with Red Bull. There's 4 more issues at hand with Marquez going to Lenovo Ducati.
4? Lovely.
So, Marc Marquez is sponsored by Oakley Sunglasses. Lenovo, a long-term sponsorship again. Lenovo Ducati is sponsored by Carrera Sunglasses. Marc Marquez is sponsored by Samsung. We always see him doing those Samsung adverts on his social media. Ducati's main sponsor, Lenovo Ducati.
Sure.
So that's a 3rd sponsor clash. The 4th one being that Marc Marquez is sponsored by Estrella Galicia. Another major sponsor. Ducati is sponsored by Contadi Castaldi, who is a sparkling wine company. So that's a 4th sponsor clash. And then there is one more that again is a major player in Marquez, is Allianz, the insurance company. It's always on there. They sponsor the Bayern Munich football stadium as well, the Allianz Arena. And Ducati is sponsored by Unipolsai, who is another insurance company. So there are 5 sponsor clashes there. For Marc Marquez to do that, he would have to give up all that. But, and this is the big but, firstly at Le Mans, he said that sometimes in life to get what you want, you have to make decisions you don't like and don't want to do. Secondly, last year he gave up an 18-year-long partnership with Repsol and gave up his entire crew at Honda to go and ride for a factory bike in a competitive team. Not a factory bike, but ride a competitive bike. He's now faced with the option of riding the best bike on the grid with the latest updates, and he's already incredibly competitive on 23. What I'm saying is, although it's a crazy thought, Marc Marquez, I think, is really ready to give up everything to get that spot.
Here's the thing. I fully agree, because I think that giving up the seat at Repsol Honda means more to him than giving up these sponsors now.
Yeah.
Like, Repsol Honda was his everything. Like, 6 MotoGP World Championships. Like, it's everything. That is his whole career. 8 in total. Like, that to me means so much more than sponsorships and doing deals and stuff like that. And Red Bull is the big one, obviously, but I can totally see through the rest of those. You will get other sponsors. You will get other sunglasses sponsors. You will, that's totally, you can negotiate deals. It makes sense. So, the fact that he left Repsol Honda is the big one. To leave sponsors to go to the factory Ducati squad is like nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Well, that's it. Like you just said, there's these 5 sponsors that have a clash. All that really means is there's 5 sponsors there that would be happy to pay money to have their name on Marc Marquez's bike. Really.
Yeah.
But see also, a Red Bull Ducati would be rather sexy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And Repsol.
That's my input. So do with that what you will.
Well, Repsol are rumoured to be leaving Honda at the end of the year. That's gonna probably happen.
Imagine a Repsol Ducati.
That'd be freaking crazy. That would be wild.
Settle down.
Yeah. But thing with Marc, Ducati and Monster Energy is a new partnership and it runs through to the end of next year. Potentially, is there a way around Marquez? Marquez has the biggest bargaining chip on the grid. The fact that Ducati are willing to do that, what they've done with Jorge Martin, to get Marquez on their bike, means he holds a lot of weight. Because he could easily turn around tomorrow and go, I'm going to ride for Aprilia to keep all my sponsors. Because why not? And Ducati would be like, oh crap, we've just now lost everything there. And annoyed Enea, because they said at the end of last year, Enea might lose your seat to Martin if he wins the championship. And Enea was like, no, it's my seat, I've got my seat. And they still doubled down and it was like, no. If Martin wins that title, it's his kind of thing. So that annoyed Enea. Now the way he's being treated will annoy him now. Enea is in talks with Gas. That is the current rumour. So they might lose Marquez, potentially, if they can't meet the demands that he's after. Maybe it's a case that the Monster Energy deal gets bought out, but that Monster Energy deal maybe only for MotoGP, or potentially gets bought out across, because they sponsor their Supercross, their motocross efforts and World Superbikes as well with Monster Energy. So for one domino to fall, it could cause a massive effect across the whole of Ducati, but it depends how bad they want Marc. And then in addition to that, is there any way Marc could just run Red Bull and just one half of the garage not have the sponsor? I don't know.
I mean, we've seen it before. There's been other teams where I think it was it not? I can't even remember, but we've seen it before where one rider rides Red Bull and the other has rode Monster Energy. So
Ducati had Miller and Pecco on different brands, but that's when that was before Monster Energy came in as a sponsor.
As like a title sponsor, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really see too many bikes have a full bike dressed up in one sponsor and a full bike dressed up in a different one. Monster Energy wouldn't want to maybe give up one bike for continuity just to keep a rider, because then it shows you as a company don't have faith in the brand. And if you don't have faith in your sponsors, that's not a good look. But it's a tricky one, but I think Marquez would give it all up, potentially.
I think he would, and I think Ducati wants him, clearly. I think that they want him on their bike. When you think of the history of having like Jorge Lorenzo, Valentino Rossi,
Yeah, true.
Casey Stoner, you know, all those really
Alien.
historic riders. They want Marc Marquez. I know they said it years ago that Marc Marquez will never be on a Ducati. Yamaha said the same thing too. Lynn Jarvis made that very, very clear.
Yeah.
That he will not be on a Yamaha. So everyone always is like, oh no, you know, Marc Marquez will never have him. The opportunity is now literally right in front
On
of
their
them.
lap.
So it's going to be complicated because of the sponsorship. But yeah, I think we'll hear probably before the summer break, to be honest, that
But
Marc Marquez will be in red next year.
the announcement we'll get first is that Enea is leaving Ducati.
Yeah.
So once
Yeah.
we get that announcement, then we know it's ready to go, because they can't do one without the other.
Do you think they'll keep Enea Bastianini? Or do you
Does
think
Enea
he'll want to stay, I suppose? Because in my head, I was going, well, now that Jorge Martin is out of the picture, Enea to Pramac, albeit that Pramac are still Ducati bikes next year, and Fermin Aldeguer alongside him.
Yeah, I think, well, 'cause didn't Gino Borsoi say that they're staying with Ducati?
Yes, but then Ducati said the next day that nothing's official yet. So that's quite
Interesting.
concerning.
Yeah, and then there's talk that potentially Gas with Tech3 could be just Tech3 next year. I mean, KTM have just bought MV Augusta,
Yeah. Yeah.
so maybe it could be an MV Augusta branded RC16. That would be quite cool. We don't know, because Pedro Costa has been confirmed as Brad Binder's teammate next year in the factory KTM squad. And Enea
Deserves
Bastianini. Yeah, I
inevitable.
agree.
Yep.
And Enea Bastianini is rumoured to be going to Gas and is in talks with them. But, and this is the thought I had earlier, Aprilia have the chance to sign Enea as well still. And yep, Paul Maverick Vinales, yep, he's won them a race this year. But if you can have two top riders, surely you'd rip their hands off at that.
2 Ducati riders as well.
Yeah,
Two
Well, they
top
did say-
Ducati riders.
two GP24 riders, yeah.
What was it they said? Let's see if we can get an Italian on an Italian bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that the
that's it.
quote?
Finally,
Finally.
an
Yeah.
Italian.
Well, that made me think that they have to have been in talks with Enea Bastianini.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think Jorge Martin was always the number one choice, all things considered. But yeah, it would be interesting to see. Now, Maverick Vinales obviously joined only a couple of years ago. He hasn't been in the campaign quite as long as what Alicia Spagro was. So maybe, you know, the loyalties aren't as, I don't know, like they might just sack off Maverick Vinales if they can get an Italian.
Yeah, and I mean, the loyalty goes both ways, because Aleix has a tattoo for Aprilia on his arm. Yeah, he might be going to Honda as a test rider.
Well, yeah, but
Awkward.
I think he said it himself, which sort of makes sense. Aleix sort of went, I want to retire, but I want to do a test rider role and basically
And I'm happy to go
recreate.
for any ride.
Yeah, recreate what I've just done. And obviously he could get big money to go wherever. Like, he has to be in talks with pretty much every team, because every team's going to look at what he's just done with Aprilia over the last 6 years and go, we want that. And especially with
And
the
Honda
concessions.
have the budget as
Yeah,
well.
and concessions with all the testing that these teams are getting at the minute, the teams who aren't performing well, like they could have a leash out freaking every weekend testing and figuring it all out. So I think Honda at the minute is where he seems to be going,
Yeah.
but loyalty only runs so far.
Well, there's so many rumours about, because there's also talk that obviously Joe Roberts has been like Trackhouse, da, 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 da. But I read a thing earlier that apparently Rivola, again, please take all this with a pinch of salt, because silly season is just mental and things get thrown around all the time. But that Rivola said that there are too many competitive riders in Aprilia at the moment and in MotoGP to give Joe Roberts a seat.
I don't think Justin Marks will let that
No.
happen.
No, and was going to test the the 24 bike today, not the GP24, but didn't. But Raul has been impressing recently, I think.
A lot more than his teammate.
Yeah, his teammate is not doing great, shall we say. There's a lot going on, and we go back to the thing of rookies and stuff, and I genuinely don't think Furman should have been signed this early.
Well, yeah, I had this conversation with someone yesterday, and it's nothing against Ducati or Fermin Aldeguer for doing it, because I do think in years to come that Fermin Aldeguer will be a fantastic MotoGP rider, but I think everyone just jumped the gun. I mean, ourselves included, we were so on the Fermin Aldeguer hype train at the end of last year, and then the start of this season, things just have not gone his way, whether it be bad luck or him making silly mistakes. I think they've signed him a year, possibly 2 years too early now, just seeing how he's reacted after completing that contract. But it is a Ducati contract, so I wonder if there's something in it somewhere where they could maybe hold him down in Moto2 for another year or so until he's ready. You know, we've seen it with other Moto2 riders where they've sort of been, like Ayagura, for example, didn't want the MotoGP seat, had a bad season, and is now having a good season, you know, putting up a championship charge, and could have a MotoGP seat next year if he keeps going the way he's going. So it might not be the worst thing, actually, to keep Fermin down there, and then that would help with Ducati's issues in
because
MotoGP.
Yeah, and my question is, if Pramac stay with Ducati, who on earth rides that Gresini bike? Because my head instantly would go, Johan Mir.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great. But Johan Mir, again, rumours to Pidgersol, is rumoured to be retiring at the end of the year. Which I think is just total tosh. I mean, you just have to look who posted it and you'll see what I mean. But, you know, it's... I don't believe it in the slightest, but that could be a possibility. And then suddenly it's like, who do we put on that bike? Because Tony Arbolino would be good, but he can barely crack the top 10 in Moto2 at the moment.
See, when you say like, Gresini, I say Tony Arbolino straight away. And then I sort of think, God, he's not performing at all to warrant it.
If he can't manage a tyre in Moto2, how the hell are they going to do it in MotoGP? You know?
That's the problem.
I mean, I think Mir would maybe retire if he felt that another year on a Honda was his only option. I think he'd rather retire than continue with Honda, because I think he said his body basically can't take it, right? Can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
But if he got the chance to go to Gresini, get on a competitive bike with a good team, I think he would, you know, similar to Marquez last year on the Honda. He basically decided it's no longer an option for him to continue on that package. And then if the Gresini opportunity came along, I think he would. He'd be like, all right, let's see if I've still got it. Let's see if I still have a competitive skill set, for want of a better word. And yeah, I think Mir would be a great addition, especially if he, you know, if Frankie Carcetti stayed there and didn't go with Marquez.
Well, this is the thing now. Is Marc Marquez going to want to take Frankie Carcetti with him? Because 7 rounds in, these two clearly work well together.
Yep.
Or would Marc be able to then get Santi back? Actually, no, scrap that, because Santi would not work in Ducati because he's so used to Honda. Scrap that completely.
I don't think he's ever getting Santi back. I think Honda kept that one in the divorce.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing I think as well is, he was in talks with me a few years ago, and there's photos of that and everything. Is it worth potentially giving Miguel Oliveira a punt on the Gresini for a year?
Not the way he's performing, no.
Nah, if you're doing this badly, for want of a better word, on the latest Aprilia, then why would jumping on a Gresini Ducati be really any different? Might be marginal gains, but I don't think it would warrant taking the punt.
So Sergio Garcia deserves a spot, I think.
I think so.
I would like to see him on a gas. Albeit they stay with KTM sort of thing. You know, that makes a bit of sense, I think. But
yeah, because there's no one else. Obviously, Joe Roberts, who I would really put up there. Alonso Lopez is destroying Furman in the championship at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say something mental now.
Oh, here we go.
What about David Alonso?
oh, I would love to see it, but no.
I don't think we can have these Moto3 jumps anymore.
Rinsing everyone in Moto3 at the moment.
Yeah, but this is the thing that someone tweeted the other day, which I hadn't actually realised, but he is even beating Pedro Acosta's level of dominance in
Well,
Moto3.
It's 5 wins in 7 races.
Yeah.
And one of them's a crash from the lead. The ones that he didn't win.
Yeah, true. That was going to be a comfortable win as well.
Obviously, it's his second year, so can't really compare him to Pedro Acosta, but he's turning out to be one of those alien sort of riders, and he's got personality in
he's great.
Bucket loads.
He speaks 3 languages.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. Yeah.
Seen a clip of him and Jake Dixon over the weekend on TNT Sports, and they got on really well together, and they did a really funny video together, and I really, really liked it. So now I'm just I'm an even bigger David Alonso fan now. I think
Alonso dedicated a win to Jake as well, didn't he?
I think maybe in 3 years we could see him.
That was a wild one, to be fair. But the fact that Alonso very nearly has double the points tally of Ortola in 4th in the championship is crazy. He's got 143. Holgado's got 106. Vaya in 3rd has 95. There's a 48-point swing after 7 races to 3rd.
Sheesh.
Which is just crazy. He's absolutely rinsing them.
Is it that he is so impressive, or has his competition also been lackluster? Because Holgado's not shown really any consistency.
Vaya has.
He's
Vaya's been
there.
exceptional.
Yeah, Vaya has been. But he's coming.
He's getting there.
He's sort of building. But yeah.
We never see this kind of dominance in Moto3, and you got to remember as well,
not this early on in a season.
If you got to remember David Alonso as well. He was a Red Bulls Rookies champion at 15 years old. He was a kid, very young, and he was able to absolutely just smoke everyone in the Red Bull Rookies Cup.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's able to, without the slipstream and qualifying and everything, he's still able to sort of pull 2-3 tenths of a second, sometimes half a second of the rest of the field, which is just crazy on a Moto3 bike with no slipstream, just going out doing it yourself. Vaya's showing a bit of that as well, to be fair, but just not quite the same pace. It is wild. I want to go back to, so you mentioned that gas are potentially not going to be sort of Tech 3 gas next year, and it's just going to be Tech 3.
For
Tech
the moment,
3 what? Like a Tech 3 Yamaha, or what do you mean?
Tech 3 KTM.
Just
I'm not really sure. All I know is that I was told that potentially there is a name change for them, but that is genuinely as far as it goes. Yeah.
A Yamaha would be cool. Tech 3 Yamaha would be cool. So.
Hey, that'd be fun. It would still be within the Piera group, but it just would be a different brand. Because KTM have got CF Moto, they've got MV Agusta, they've got Gas, they've got Husqvarna. They can use, because they're running the current bikes, they're able to use Tech 3 to advertise whatever the hell they want. And that's probably what they're going to do. And I don't blame them for that. Red Bull Organics, for example, the other year. There was KTM for a bit.
Well, I suppose now in Moto 3 and Moto 2, it's the CF Moto.
Yeah.
They're not Gas Aspar team anymore, so
No.
like that's a change of sponsorship there. So I suppose it would make sense maybe to have the
Yeah,
continuity
and then Tech3 went over to Gas.
yeah, up into GP like they used to. So
Yeah, I don't know, because Tech3 Moto3's Gas, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is.
and there's already a Husky Moto3 team and a CF Moto
that's all the
team.
confusing things now. Yeah, because Gas used to be Aspar.
But there is no MV Augusta team, just saying.
That'd be cool. Love to see that.
Yeah, that's a bit.
I mean, we
more.
had MV Augusta forward, and that was absolutely appalling. But
Well,
that one's a bit more complicated, but
yeah, it was. But yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment in MotoGP, which is good because the race had not much going on.
it was boring. There's no other way to put it.
It's because we've been used to so many amazing races so far, I think.
Well, I mean, the first two corners of the first lap were good when Pecco came from fifth. And then
yeah.
when Marc made his move, and then Enea made it back, and then last lap was probably the most exciting bit.
Sensational from Enea.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
That's a ride from a man who doesn't have a seat next year.
That was I can still do it, by the way, everyone. I've still got it. Don't you worry, sunshine.
But
Yeah, it was superb from Enea. But the Moto2 race was the race to watch.
Oh, yeah. Even it was basically a sprint race, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, 12 laps.
Yeah.
I think really the only thing that actually made up for MotoGP was Ducati's absolutely worldy of a livery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was
absolutely stunning. But yeah, in Moto2, like, it was great to see Joe Roberts win. He does this thing where when we have a Moto2 sprint race, he kind of goes on and wins.
Yeah.
So a bad MotoGP memes me post about that one as well, where it's like Joe Roberts, when he finds out it's a short race, it's like winner.
It's true. It needs some kind of special circumstance to be like, oh, this is my chance. I could win this one.
I could do
you know
this.
What I mean? It's weird. It's weird.
It's like American be the hero thing.
Yeah, totally.
I think he was still would have been in with a chance if it had been full length, just looking at how he attacked the race.
Yeah.
But I suppose then he said it himself in after race interviews, so that like he didn't care about his tyres.
Yeah,
because it was such a short race, and you could see that from other riders too. Like Manu Gonzalez was throwing the kitchen sink at it, obviously, to try and take his first Moto2 win. There was 6 of them that easily could have won the race. So yeah, I still think Joe would have won it either way. But yeah, you're right in saying that a shortened race just seemed to spark something inside him, and for the fact that he was on pole, I think he really realised that this was his chance. Sergio Garcia didn't have the best of races, and I say that he finished 4th, so like it's not like he had a terrible race, but championship's down to 7 points again all of a sudden, and that's exactly what Joe needed to make sure that this championship didn't run away from him, which he didn't have a great race last weekend, so this was sort of the result he needed to sort of remind himself that he's in with a shot, and to prove a lot of people wrong too, and to prove that if the MotoGP move does happen, that it's completely based on results rather than passport.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think the performance at Mugello from him really said that he deserves a shot, I reckon. For sure. Proper racing.
Yeah. And it's frustrating maybe a little bit for Joe, because he's now got 2 races in 10 weeks. So now he has to sit on that motivation and that, I've just won the race, I can do this now. And it's a great feeling to sit on and be like, I can do this now. But you also don't want that feeling of being able to do that to subside a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
And he's got Assen not until the end of this month, on 28th of June, for Friday, that is, 30th for the race. And then a week later in July, and then he's got to wait another month for the race in August, which we are going to be at, Myriad. So yeah, but it's great for him, but then he's got to wait now. And then you go back to MotoGP and the whole Ducati Marquez situation. Marquez now can't prove himself for another month. So it might be the end of the month that we get an announcement for Ducati.
Sacks him
It
ring
could be longer.
when he
yeah.
wins.
Yeah, and it smashes everyone. Yeah, but it is great for Joe. I'm buzzing for him. He deserves it. He's a good lad. He works bloody hard and has done for a long time.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
And he's not taken the normal way into the class, of just jumping in the CV Moto 3 and then the Moto 2 and then jumping in, or just Moto 3, Moto 2 and via the Rebel Rookies. He did do the Rebel Rookies back in the day, I believe. That you're going to have to correct me on that one if I'm wrong. Let's have a quick
You're
look.
right.
I'm
Yes,
not
he
gonna
did
correct
3
you.
seasons of the Rebel Rookies, one in 2011, won a race that is. That was it, 2 podiums. Then went back to America after 2013 and raced in the Moto America Stock 600 for a few years. Then jumped on the factory bike in the Supersport, and then got a chance to go and race in the AGR squad in CV Moto 2. I think he either replaced or was teammates with Benny Solis. Benny was a good lad when he was racing. He was freaking quick. And then he got that opportunity to race at Brno and got 10th on his debut, and that's it. And then he's made his way through that way. It was, like we say, not the standard way into the class, and he's taken, because of that, it's reflected in his results, because it's taken him, well, he's now on his third, 7th full season in Moto 2.
Really? Oh my
Yeah, you see the
What
same with
age is
Jay.
he?
26.
Ugh. It does put
He
a
was
different
18 when he
spin.
made his debut.
Ugh. Yeah, that puts a different spin on the MotoGP move, doesn't it? Because,
Yep.
I don't know, when riders are getting to 26, you're thinking, they're maybe on the...
Excuse me, I'm 26 now, Sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
Calm, what are you going to say?
Bruv, listen, I'm 30. I am definitely on a decline. But, yeah, like, for a MotoGP rider, when they're getting to 26, you're thinking, they should be at, like, their peak, really?
Well, he's
And then when they
27 in
start-
2 weeks.
Oh.
Like...
Pecco Bagnaia is 27 in his 2 World Championships.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And, like, to be honest, can we see Pecco getting better than he is?
No.
Or kind of, in the years to come, maybe starting to fade a little bit?
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, I think it has been proven with the likes of Jake Dixon and Sam Lowes and stuff like that, that the British riders have taken longer to reach their peak. I think if Danny Kent probably being the exception to that with his Moto 3
But
World
look
Champion.
how the way Danny came in, and Jake came in the unconventional way, and same with Joe.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
Joe probably is reaching his prime now-ish. So hopefully
Yeah.
that continues for the rest of the year and into the next sort of 3-4 years then, and gives him a proper shot,
at it.
MotoGP.
Yeah. I hope
Whereas a lot of Spanish and Italian riders that we see come in, do really, really, really well, Moto 3, Moto 2, and then sort of fall off a bit when they get to that age, or maybe when they get to MotoGP, or they get to Moto 2 and they're stuck there for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, they're not as good as what they used to be, whereas maybe the Brits and the Americans then sort of...
But that comes with experience but in that same way, that experience takes them longer to get because of the way they come in. Same with Asian riders. You got
that
Tachikon
too, yeah.
Brasserie in Moto 3. Yeah, the Asian Talent Cup is great for it, but we're not going to see we've seen the payoff with Ayagura, for example, and Chantro and stuff. With the British Talent Cup, we're only just seeing the payoff with Scott Ogden, Joshua Watley, Eddie O'Shea, and Casey O'Gorman, and that's still, 2 of them are still not in the World Championship. And then you see the Asian riders, for example, and again, it depends on where they're from, it takes them a lot longer. Like I said, Tachikon Brasserie is like 24, and he's a Moto 3 rookie.
It's the lack of experience on European tracks. Why do the Spaniards do so well at the 4 Spanish rounds? Because they
they've been riding
race
on
there
them.
every single weekend. You take
they were
those
kids.
Moto 3 boys to bloody Oulton
Cadwell.
Park or something.
Oh, God,
Josh and
yeah.
Scott would probably do a lot better than what they're doing now because those are the tracks that they grew up racing on.
You say that, but then they go to Silverstone and they don't win.
Silverstone's crap.
Yes, it is. But Scott and Josh will have been riding Silverstone for a long time
Okay, well, right, fine. That just ruined my whole point.
I fully get your point because you said about not being used to riding European tracks, and you are right because Silverstone is technically a European track. It's a Grand Prix standard track, whereas Cadwell and Oulton Park are not. And yeah, David Alonso would probably struggle a little bit around it, whereas Scott would be like, nah, this is easy. And then you flip it obviously the other way around, and then you put Scott on the track that David Alonso knows, and that's where he struggles. Same way you get Marc Marquez and put him on a bloody Ducati V4 around the Isle of Man TT. He's probably going to be a lot slower than the rest of them, despite being as talented as he is, you know?
Well, I mean, the TTs, it's
all different ballgame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that's
apples
mental
and
talent.
oranges, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we give a quick shout out to Michael Dunlop for matching Joey's record?
Oh, absolutely. I was nearly in tears. To be
Well,
honest.
it's a Super Twin race tomorrow, so he might beat it.
I mean, it's got to be on the cards, right?
He
I
almost
mean,
blooming beat it
He
on
should
Sunday,
have
didn't he?
won the
Yeah.
Superbike race. He should have, but just a complete freak error.
Incident.
Like,
Sabotage. Who was it?
Peter Hickman.
Oh,
Did you
You
see
heard
the
it
video of
here.
him pull up at the side of the
No,
road?
that made me so sad.
And he was yelling like, "Gah!" And
Yeah,
you're
because he
you
was
just-
like swearing. He was like, "You effing idiot! I can't believe
Yeah.
you've done this!" Like,
you can just feel the
Oh.
emotion and stuff.
well, you not have like 20 odd seconds in hand.
22
as well.
seconds.
22
Ugh.
to then 39 back. It was a 52-second stop, I believe it was,
He set the new lap record though.
because he was riding angry
So
afterwards.
fast.
And at that point, you take risks that you're like, and I can't even put it to words like how in awe I am of these TT riders. Because if I was to say ride the track, I'd be riding cautious and braking quite to make sure I get through that next corner and stuff like that. And yes, these guys have, and girls, because obviously Maria Costello's there, Jane Timoth has got
Legend,
records and stuff like that. Maria Costello is absolutely just amazing. I met her the other year and she is so lovely.
So cool.
I just had, she is just epic. But like for me, you know, to ride around, I'd be potting around, making sure I get through the next corner. And of course, these have talent way above I could ever imagine, but they are still riding it on that knife edge of a limit. And I could not possibly imagine sending myself into a corner like that at that speed on that much of a limit. And it just blows my head off.
I would race round it at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I have. I've had the
Oh.
pleasure of being around the TT course on my old KTM, but I must admit, the speedometer I don't think saw triple digits at any point. Probably because I was on an A2 bike as well, so like,
Yeah.
it probably
fair
can't
enough.
even do 100. But yeah, I was riding around it and just thinking how, you know, because when you're actually there on the circuit, you're like, there is just, it is inconceivable the things that they do on that track. Really, it's yeah. You can't you can't explain it until you can't explain it to people who haven't watched the TT,
No.
much less been there as well,
Yeah.
and sat at the side of the track. It is just crazy.
You
It
see the
really
videos,
is.
but imagine
Yeah.
like feeling it and feeling
Yeah.
that.
Did you see the video or the picture of Pedro Acosta in the media debriefs on Saturday? It was. He was watching the Isle of Man.
Was he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
What a legend. Who's his hero?
Dunlop.
Was it Michael
he
Dunlop?
loves Michael Dunlop.
Oh, what a legend. There's like you just can't like Pedro Costa more, can you?
It wouldn't surprise me if he showed up on the island this week now that there's no racing. Like
Yeah, that's
He
true.
loves
That's
it.
true.
he
That is
he always
true.
talks about the Isle of Man. So I thought that was a really nice touch that he was sitting live streaming it.
Yeah, that fair play to him. I mean, yeah, TT riders are crazy, and I'll give a shout out to Loris Majkan as well, who's a long time friend, shall we say, of EMR, quite annoyed actually, because the other year he's like, send me some stickers, I'll stick them on my bike. And I'm like, God, I could have had my logo or the logo on the TT bike, because he's making his debut this year in the Super Sport class. Absolute nutcase. But
right,
like, I keep chatting to him about it. I'm like, I just don't understand how you do this. This is crazy. But he was the fastest newcomer in the Super Sport Race 1.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he got an award for it and everything. He finished 44th, I believe, with an average speed of like 118 miles an hour, something like that.
Unfathomable.
Which is just fair play to him. It just, yeah, I'm like, you are mental.
I don't know how people do it. I did 100 miles an hour once down the motorway in my car and was like, that's enough
This is
for
scary.
me.
That's
Yeah.
plenty, yeah.
Well, it's like Josh Brooks is doing 205 through the speed traps.
On two wheels, like, settle down. Honestly, just, and it's enough, right? Come on.
Did you see his chain come off? The video of his chain coming off?
No.
No? What?
Josh was absolutely flying, like probably close to 200 miles an hour, and he just shoots past a load of people, and you just see his chain just like riding down the, like just.
Did you see him hit that bird?
No.
God, yeah. Minced. Absolutely
That
minced.
was a sorry end to that bird. You thought Ian One headbutting the seagull at Australia was bad. Oh my good God.
I mean, that bird knew nothing about it, I'm sure. Absolutely nothing.
Poor bird.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Yeah, the TT is just.
Quite the spectacle.
It is. And it's, like we say, it's the oldest road race in the world. And yeah, it's dangerous. Of course it is. But that's kind of why we admire it, I guess, because it is just like man and woman and machine and people just pushing it to the absolute. It's just sending it, really, isn't it? It's the definition of just send it.
Full send. Do or die, basically.
The sidecar passengers as well are just off their
come on.
nut.
That again is different gravy.
No, you couldn't pay me money to do that.
Like, I get it, maybe if you're driving the sidecar, but to then be this passenger and put that much trust. You know, like the Birchall brothers, for example, and then one of them was retired, and it's like, then to trust a new person to do it? Whoa, that is wild.
Thing is, with the sidecar, I really don't know which one I'd rather be. Because with a bike or being the passenger, right, you can kind of like jump off or try and escape. You know, like, what's the name of the dude that crashed at the Northwest and had that massive moment over the wall? And it was...
Oh my God, and he hit the car and everything.
That was mental.
Well, he said, like, he was like, oh, I'm going to jump. And that potentially, like, I don't know, might have saved his life because he ended up getting flung over the wall, really. And you could kind of do that as a sidecar passenger if things went wrong. But if you're the pilot in a sidecar, you're like in this cockpit and you're going with the sidecar if it goes wrong, and you might just end up
off a mountain.
I'm going to say
mincemeat. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to do either.
Well,
yeah, fair enough.
That is an option.
Yeah,
and
I'd never want to ride a sidecar.
It's the option I take every year, actually, believe it or not. Yeah.
My mate was saying, because he went to a sidecar race somewhere recently, and there was like a load of foreign teams and stuff there, and there was this German team. There's like a guy and a girl, like probably a husband and wife kind of thing. And he said that the wife, she was a passenger, was hanging off that much, her helmet could have been scraping the ground. It was like inches from the tarmac.
Class.
And you're like, what the hell?
No, not for me.
Next level stuff.
Yeah, absolutely just wild. But yeah, they get more respect. But
yep.
Yeah, moving on to back onto Moto3 quickly, and then we'll go through the predictions.
Ooh.
David Alonso, absolutely outstanding. Did think Via had something in there at the end.
I think another lap, or if he hadn't got pushed
Like
back
10
to
meters.
6, yeah, I think he would have been fine.
Yeah,
think he would've
Mugello
got
though, what a track.
I think that's one of the biggest winning gaps.
Biggest?
Yeah, around
What do you mean?
Mugello.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Did you see quickly the Supersport? Well, no, the Moto America Supersport race.
Yes.
Oh, 1,000th
I've seen the
of a
picture.
second.
I've seen the picture, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
my
then
days.
PJ was probably about 2,000 of a second back from that. Unbelievable. But yeah, really good race. Sato was 4th as well. I missed that.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice to see Yamanaka finally get that first podium.
This actually links into what we were saying earlier about the age of riders. He's 22.
Mm,
And that's his first Moto3 podium.
nuts, isn't it? And
Yep.
after Ortola crashed and still finished 6th.
Yeah, he lost 12 seconds. How mad's
Yeah.
that?
Which is crazy because I remember back in my day, back in like 2016, when you had 25 rider battles for wins at Mugello, and if you crack, like I remember Fanati going from, I think he went went onto the straight and was first, but end of the straight was 12th, and 3 corners later he was 3rd.
You don't get riders winning from the back anymore. Not in the last
but
sort of 2 years.
this is what I mean. In Mugello a couple of years ago, if Ortola had crashed from where he did, he'd have been 27th.
Easy.
After 12 seconds, he'd have been dead last. And yeah, he was still 6th. Shows actually how hard the front riders were pushing. Jacob Rulestone did incredibly well again in 9th place. And
Yeah.
sensational. And yeah, Rueda in a point after a crash as well. Riccardo Rossi, I think, had a crash as well. Did very well.
What did you think about Danny Holgado's double long lap penalty?
I don't think he could have helped what had happened. Even going wide, I think he had a bit of a bobble and it pushed him off. But if you ruin 2 riders' races, you deserve to have a penalty.
First corner, first lap. Surely racing incident, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
I can
tough
see
one to
that.
call.
Just as well, when you look at what happened in the MotoGP sprint as well, that there was 2
Yeah,
different
true.
incidents where a rider was rode into and no penalties given. Yeah, irresponsible riding and a double long lap penalty for Danny Holgado. I thought it was a bit harsh.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it was just a bit savage.
Yeah, I think Hervé Poncharols complained about it too, and he's part of the, what is it, IRTA?
Yeah, he is part of IRTA.
So that's not going to go down well. He was a bit savage after the race.
Yeah, not surprised.
Well, quite right.
Not surprised. But yeah, and Xabi Zaratusza, I thought it'd be a lot worse than what it is.
Oh,
I
thank
think
God!
he's
Yeah,
damaged his scapula, is it? And
fractured scapula and right humerus.
yeah, he's done very well. I mean, humerus is a savage one, as Marc Marquez found out.
Yeah.
So
Sore.
we'll probably see Vicente Barres back again. But yeah, I'm very glad to see Zaratusza okay.
Yeah, that was a scary one.
Yeah, it was. And then, yeah. And then quickly in the Rebel Rookies, Maximo Quiles has been banned from Assen for 2 races after absolutely demolishing Richie Moodley on the straight in a crazy move where he just moved across the straight and
Oh,
took
I've not
him
seen
out.
this.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
check
The
Richie Moodley's
weaving.
Instagram. It was so bad.
That needs
Like-
ironed out before these kids get through
Yes.
to World Championship.
Well,
for
that's why
sure.
they've absolutely hit him with
Yeah.
a hammer and banned him.
Well,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
because
It's
it's
title contender, if
yeah,
not leader.
it stopped happening in Moto 3 because they started handing out the big penalties for weaving, and the likes
Yeah.
of Dennis Onchu got a race ban a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did.
after that big crash in America, so just right, absolutely just right. I mean, the move was disgusting. It was
Yeah, it
horrible.
was bad.
And
I'm gonna
like,
have to watch this.
oh my God, it's so lucky that no one was seriously hurt. Like, that could have been such a bad crash. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
bad crash, but like, God, the fact that everyone
Could have been
is,
worse.
okay after it is mental.
Absolutely. Right. Should we head into predictions and then round it up?
Go on then.
So it's a crazy one. So going into Mugello, I led with 257 points, 67, 267.
He loves to say it.
Lauren second with 225.
Yeah.
Cameron third with 220. So this time there was a lot more points actually gained for once.
Really?
That's good.
Because last time it was absolutely appalling. But in Moto 3, myself and Lauren went for David Alonso on pole, so we get 10 points apiece. Cameron got Via in second.
Ooh.
Hey.
And then we all got David Alonso to win.
Hey.
So
Nice.
I netted 35 points to put me up to 302. I've not added on my pole position for MotoGP there. Oopsie.
Of course he hasn't.
Cameron netted 45 points.
Let's go.
What?
And Lauren netted 35. Meaning Cameron has leapfrogged Lauren again and has 265 and Lauren 260.
Oh, I like it. This is good. This is a good system. This week it is anyway.
Yeah, next week.
But revenge comes fast.
Don't.
The only result in Moto 2 that was correct was Alonso Lopez in third from Lauren,
Hey!
who now has 276 points, and Cameron 265. And then MotoGP, I got pole with Martin correct with 300, so now I leave with 312. And in second place with 290 points, Cameron picked Bagnaia to win the race. And Lauren was third with 276. Meaning there's a 22-point gap between me and Cameron and a 14-point gap between Lauren and Cameron. So it's still pretty close.
This is spicy. This is
Yeah,
good.
I like it.
I knew I went rogue with my MotoGP predictions, in fairness. I think I had, Marc Marquez, Pedro Acosta.
Yeah.
Listen,
You went
could have happened.
Marquez Acosta, did you?
Oh, did you? Had a great race. So,
You did seventh,
you
yeah.
know.
I went Marquez, Bagnaia, Acosta. Cameron went Bagnaia, Martin and Mark. And to be fair, if you take an air out of the occasion, you'd have been spot on.
Ah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hindsight's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
It
Phil.
is indeed. But yeah, so I lead with 312, Cameron second with 290, and Lauren third with 276. It's spicy, and we
It's
like
good.
it.
I'm just glad I'm in the mix this year.
For once.
Actually, for the second year, like 3 years in, this is my third year participating. Well, to be fair, the first year I came in so late that there was no chance of me winning anyway.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then last year was a write-off.
Mm.
So no,
Well,
I'm
there we
chuffed.
go.
I'm chuffed to be involved.
You did good. Well done. Well done.
Just happy to be here.
Just
Yep.
happy to be here indeed.
Yeah, I think that's all we've got time for.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Perfect. Well, hopefully we'll have some more news for you next week, potentially. And if we've not, we'll try and talk about something else. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. We're back next time. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.